The Mission, directed by Roland Joffé and written by Robert Bolt, is a magnificent film, as while it has the outward appearance of an adventure picture, The Mission is truly about Christ's redemption of man, attitudes of those who fight for what they believe in, how they go about fighting their battle, either physically or spiritually, and which one is more powerful. The Mission stars Jeremy Irons' father, Gabriel, and Robert De Niro as Rodrigo Mendoza, with the supporting role held by Liam Neeson as Father John Fielding. The first half of the mission follows the establishment of a mission to the pagan Guarani people by Father Gabriel and Father John, Rodrigo's fratricide, and his penance. Throughout this first part of the mission, the audience is reminded of the redemption of man in the eyes of two peoples, those that do not know Christ's words and teachings, and those that know the teachings but choose to ignore those teachings and live within the world. We see the effects of both the ignorance and the unwillingness to interact with his teachings and how it affects each of the characters or groups. At the beginning of the journey to redemption, we see that both the Guarani people and Rodrigo act violently towards the opposing group. The Guarani's opposition are the Jesuits and Rodrigo, as they see them as threatening their way of life both spiritually and physically, whether it be physical in the way of Rodrigo as he hunts them and enslaves them, or the forceful nature of the previous Jesuit attempts to convert them, resulting in the priest's death. The Guarani people are at first apprehensive and threatening to Father Gabriel, as previously they were approached by the martyred priest shown at the beginning of the film. Father Gabriel's beautiful and heartfelt performance, while abrupt due to the destruction of his oboe, conveys a sense of beauty that convinces some of the Guarani people to accept him. They soon learn to trust in him, and thus through Christ, as he defends them against the evil of their world, Rodrigo. They react to Rodrigo with both terror and intention to kill him, as they know his reputation as a slaver and murderer of their people.
We're gonna make Christians of these people.
If you have the time.
Rodrigo, a Spanish mercenary and slaver, chooses to ignore the teachings of Christ, as he is full of hatred for the Guarani people, who at first he sees as animals. He enslaves and kills the Guarani people, and murders his own brother, as he believes what was his was taken from him. Rodrigo, after he murders his brother, is acquitted of the crime, but believes he is irredeemable, as he has committed the sin of Cain and Abel, murder, but more specifically fratricide, alongside the murder of the Guarani people. Father Gabriel convinces Rodrigo to serve penance and to join him in his now burgeoning mission atop the falls. In the Catholic Church at the time, penance was a window into what Christ suffered on the cross and at the hands of the Romans. The Church and its followers believed that this would cleanse them of their worldly sin. Rodrigo's journey to the mission is hampered as he carries both the symbolic and physical weight of the arms and armor he used not only to enslave, but the sword and dagger he used to kill his brother with. He constantly suffers through this arduous journey as he falls due to the weight over and over and over again. The next time Rodrigo meets with a Guarani, he believes that he will be killed as a Guarani man approaches him with a knife and points it to his throat. Instead, this man releases Rodrigo from his physical and spiritual load and believes this is God saying, "You have suffered enough for your sins. Those that you have hunted now free you, as God's Son freed the world from sin." Rodrigo sees God's mercy and love and becomes a Jesuit.
Welcome home, Father.
The second half of the mission deals with the secular rule of the land, more specifically the land disputes between the Portuguese and Spanish empires, and how the Catholic Church and our Jesuit priests react to the decision to divide the territory. The Portuguese and Spanish empires are working together in secret to manipulate the papal representative to remove the Jesuits, as they and their missions are a threat to business. After the papal representative decides in favor of the empires, the Jesuits have a decision to make. Do we stay and fight for the Guarani? If so, how?
That no one of you should even seem to have encouraged them to do so. And therefore, all of you will return with me to Asuncion tomorrow. If anyone should disobey this, he will be excommunicated, cut off, cast out.
Rodrigo is approached by one of the boys from the Guarani people with a sword retrieved from the sack of arms and armor from Rodrigo's penitential journey. He and some other priests decide to use Rodrigo's knowledge of European warfare while working with the Guarani warriors to ambush the Spanish and Portuguese forces conspiring to destroy the mission and its people. Father Gabriel, however, decides to fight by civil disobedience. These two methods are both recognized as forms of fighting injustice within the Catholic Church at this point in history, as Augustine of Hippo developed the concept of a just war, later specified by Thomas Aquinas, and on the other side is Christ's ideas and actions of civil disobedience. Even though the priests physically fight back, we soon see that their fight was in vain, as they and the Guarani warriors are outnumbered and outmatched, resulting in their deaths. While these rogue priests and their followers fight, the audience witnesses the civil disobedience by Father Gabriel as he is giving Mass despite the hellish landscape of war that surrounds them. The audience sees the trap that Rodrigo planned fail, resulting in him being shot multiple times. However, this isn't the end for Rodrigo. The audience is then given Rodrigo's vision, in which we see Father Gabriel in his vestments holding a monstrance unwavering and strong, walking he and his congregants towards the enemy soldiers, defying them and their governments as Christ had. In his last moments, Rodrigo realizes that he made the wrong decision. He once again turned away from Christ's teachings of peace and love, even though he thought he was defending that same principle. He sees Father Gabriel's triumph and in turn Christ's triumph on the cross as he has become a sacrificial lamb. And finally, Rodrigo dies.